The news broke that the Trump administration is going to basically undo all of the damage that Joe Biden did by trying to prevent people from having to pay back their student loans. Now, if you are a person who thought your loans were forgiven, nope. You got to pay your loans back.
Aww.
Caroline Leavitt announced it at her presser. Here she is with the news.
In other news, the Trump administration has announced we will put an end to Joe Biden's illegal student loan bailout attempts. No student loan has been referred to collection since March of 2020. That comes to an end. On May 5th, the Department of Education will resume involuntary collections for borrowers with defaulted federal student loans. The student loan portfolio controlled by the federal government is nearly $1.6 trillion, but fewer than 4 out of 10 borrowers are in repayment. This is unsustainable, unfair, and a huge liability for American taxpayers. Debt cannot be wiped away. It just ends up getting transferred to others. So why should Americans who didn't go to college or went to college and responsibly paid back their loans pay for the student loans of other Americans? The Trump administration will never force taxpayers to pay student loan debts that don't belong to them. Student loan borrowers need clarity, and we're finally giving it to them. Borrowers will now be clearly expected to repay their loans, and those who default on their loan obligations will face involuntary collections. The government can and will collect defaulted federal student loan debt by withholding money from borrowers' tax refunds, federal pensions, and even their wages. America is $36 trillion in debt. We must get our fiscal house in order and restore common sense to our country. If you take out a loan, you have to pay it back. It's very simple.
Yeah, and all the people who are for this, like they took a break from screaming death to America to bitch about it yesterday.
Of course they did.
You know? Just
of course they did.
Take all the seats.
They need to be more responsible with their own money. And they can't just be, like she said, transferring all their debts to us. That is not fair.
Right.
Next time Coda feels like crafting up some AI image of, say, I don't know, Trump and Biden making out. I don't know, whatever kind of
he
image.
does that on the daily. I talk to him about that quite frequently. Yes.
Well, make sure that he's choosing an AI platform that isn't trying to learn every little nuance about his private life. This is kind of freaky. So there are lots and lots of AI platforms out there to choose from. We, of course, prefer our sponsor, Venice AI, and you can get 20% off of their pro service at venice.ai/chicks when you use code chicks. And here is why you should think about Venice instead of one of those other platforms. So Sam Altman, as you know, he's the guy that's like in charge of ChatGPT. And he recently tweeted, "We have greatly improved memory in ChatGPT. It can now reference all of your past conversations."
Oh my God.
This is a surprisingly great feature, in my opinion, and it points at something we're excited about. AI systems that get to know you over your life and become extremely useful and personalized.
That's creepy AF.
Right. I mean, thank you, but no.
Exactly.
And also, the former director of the NSA actually sits on the ChatGPT board right now. So
no, thank you, but
that's not okay. That's not okay. I like the fact that when I had MRI results for my knee way back when I first got the MRI back in November, and you know how the report comes from radiology, there are words I could not understand heads or tails about it. I didn't know what it was saying. I just wanted just give me the layman's version of what this report says. Right. And I just copied and pasted it, threw it into Venice AI, and it gave me just a normal way to understand my own MRI results. That's just one of many things that you can do with it. It's venice.ai/chicks. And then, of course, don't forget to use code chicks for 20% off. That'll give you like unlimited searches and text image capabilities. No limits on it. It's great. Check it out.
I love Vinny's comment. My bills aren't high enough. I'd love to pay for other people's shit.
Right?
I love that so much. It's great. That's the best comment. Yes. It's
so good. There was a Fox News report about the student loan stuff that included a quote from Linda McMahon, which was really good. Here it is.
Saying this is not fair. We can't forgive your student loans because someone has to pay for it. She writes, why? Not because we want to be unkind to student borrowers, Borrowing money and failing to pay it back isn't a victimless offense. Debt doesn't go away. It gets transferred to others.
Yeah.
If borrowers don't pay their debts to the government, taxpayers do.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. We pay for everything. God.
Can
I
we
mean,
not add this to the list, please?
right. How is this not obvious at this point? Yeah.
don't
Again,
get
I think it
either.
needs to go back to you and I have always talked about how we should not have money taken automatically out of our, out of our, like our
Right.
monthly, whatever pay, people are paid a salary. It shouldn't just be taken out automatically. We should be forced to write checks, like physically forced to write checks to the government. And if we were forced to do that, like every 2 weeks, everybody would be a conservative. At least 90% of us would be conservative, because the other 10% are just going to be stupid. Right. But if we were forced to do that, people would be like, damn, that's a lot of money that we have to pay the government. I don't like this. I'm very uncomfortable doing this. It's just that you don't see it. It's out of sight, out of mind,
Yeah, you don't pay attention, and it's just all you care about is your net pay, right?
Right.
And what it is the first time you get it, and then what it continues to be. That's what you're working with, and so you don't pay attention to all the FICAs and the Social Securities and the Medicare. I mean, maybe like we do because we're so mad about it,
Right.
but in general,
that's
people
why
just,
a lot of kids who get out of college, they get their first job and they're like, wait, what is this?
right.
And then they're like bleeding heart liberals, and all of a sudden they turn conservative really quickly when they get that first job, and they're like, WTF is FICA? Yeah, let me tell you what it is. Bend over, kid, because that's exactly what this is, and it's going to get even worse. So yeah, that's a lot of them turn conservative. And if we were forced to do that manually every 2 weeks, I wish we had to do that.
Dana Perino had some good commentary about this as well. Here she is.
Over. And also remember, it was Nancy Pelosi who said, Joe Biden doesn't have the legal authority to do this. They tried to do it anyway. The courts kept pushing it back. So they had false hopes, false promises to people. And I understand the student loan debt can be a burden. It doesn't mean that the system shouldn't be changed or that the interest rate couldn't be lowered. But they are going to have to pay it back. Nobody helped somebody that bought an F-150 as a plumber pay that bill.
Right.
And none of us should have to. They pay their bills. Everyone should pay their bills. It doesn't mean the system can't be reformed.
Right. Preach.
Reform some stuff. That's fine, but you still owe the money.
Yeah.
You signed the paperwork.
Right. It's like,
this is not hard.
It's like getting a new car. I don't have to pay for your freaking car. Where does it stop? That's the thing. We pay for these, and then like, where does it all stop? Because eventually they're going to be like, well, I mean, you owe me a car too, and you owe me a house too, and you owe me this too. Where does it stop? I owe you nothing. I owe you nothing.